Welcome back to the channel, good friends. Brian from Apex Detail. Since I've gotten quite a few questions on Meguiar's 2002 iron remover, I will do a quick video on it today. And I pulled something off the shelf to compare it to, so something that I know is effective, the Ultimate Burn from Fireball. This is a product line that is new to the channel, and I'll be introducing more and more of those products to you as we go. So without further ado, let's get right into this. Meguiar's D2002 Iron Removing Spray Clay, 32 ounces for $20. An iron remover, and also formulated to remove contaminants that are above and below the surface. Here we have the perfect candidate to test this product on. It's a white vehicle, hasn't been washed in a long time, has a lot of bonded, baked on contaminants on the paint and also on the wheels. I could see where a lot of the questions come with the word clay, and it's in quotation marks on the label. The formula is made to assist a clay bar. You can use it as a lubricant, and it also helps to break down some of the bonded contaminants on the surface of the paint. It will not, guys, replace the clay bar or synthetic clay mitts. So I sprayed it on the wheel here first. The wheel wasn't cleaned, and this is where the source of your ferrous metals come from, braking systems or rail lines and heavy trucks when it's on the back of trucks during transport. And as you can see, it's starting to break this down right away. And if you let it sit the 3, 4, 5 minutes that's necessary to work on removing those ferrous metals, it's effective. And you'll see it turn purple. Is it the strongest out there available? Well, we're going to see as we put this up against another effective product that does the same thing here just in a few minutes. But I'll let it sit for 3 to 5 minutes, and I grab the washer and I rinse it away. And without any agitation, guys, this brake dust that's been really kind of baked on for quite some time is just rinsing right away. And that's not bad. That's impressive. Products like these, you want to keep away from plastic trim, chrome, windows. I know some of them say they're safe for it, but if you do spray it on there, the sun's out, it's really strong, really hot, there's a chance it could etch or discolor, so I try to keep them as far away from trim and glass as possible. When it comes to ferrous metal, guys, coming from brake systems, it's flying onto your clear coat hot. It tries to work its way into the clear. If you're looking at the clear coat from the side of the panel, these jagged edges here representing the ferrous metal. When you spray the iron removers on, what happens? How does it remove ferrous metals? It doesn't really remove them. It causes an exothermal chemical reaction, hence the color change. And it really just changes not so much the composition, but the structure and the shape of the ferrous metal. So it can be then flushed from the panel as it has been broken down and breaks loose from the clear coat. That's why I like to spray it on, let it dwell, rinse with pressurized water from a good strong pressure washer, and then follow up with soap and water to flush the area. That's the best way to do it. But that's how they're removed. If you go ahead and just clay the car without using a remover, guys, an iron remover, you're going to shave off the ferrous metal right there at the head, and it's going to come along with your clay bar and mar the surface. So use an iron remover when possible. Basically, after that, especially on a hammered wheel, then I'll come back after I rinse it and clean it thoroughly, just the regular way with a wheel cleaner. This really gets it clean, removes the iron ferrous metals that start to embed themselves into the face of the wheel. But what I'm going to do after I clean it thoroughly is come back in and follow it up with Ultimate Iron Burn. This is from Fireball. This is from Carzilla.com. If you want to look into it a little bit further before I get into more of these products in depth. And I'm going to come in and spray it right on top of the area that we just cleaned and decontaminated. Now, ideally, you don't want to see any purple or red or iron color looking spots on the wheel. That means there would be some left behind that the D2002 could not break down. These iron removers you want to give 2 to 3 minutes in direct sunlight and sometimes up to 5 minutes in shaded areas or in a shop to let them work and break down the ferrous metals. As you can see there, the D2002 left some behind, so you want to go over it again if it's a real hammered wheel. It can be cranked up a notch when it comes to strength. Those just getting into detailing or want to start taking care of their own car, where does the iron remover fit into the detailing regimen? Well, it's right after the wash. You want to do your pre-wash and your contact wash and remove as much as possible so the iron remover can make contact with the surface and the ferrous metal to start breaking them down. It can't do that if there's a heavy layer of dirt on the car first. I also dry the vehicle completely. I don't like the product being diluted, spraying onto a wet car directly after a wash. Okay, a lot better. Nice and clean now. At least the product will make contact with the surface and the ferrous metals. I can feel a lot of bonded contaminants near the bottom of the car and around the wheel wells. I'm going to spray as much of the car as possible because I don't believe this has ever been done to this car, but I'm going to try again to stay away from the trim and the windows. Let it sit 3 minutes. It's overcast today, so you can stretch it out to about 4 minutes. And this is what it's going to look like. Spotty with purple, reddish, rust color looking spots all over the car. From here you could do either two things: flush it right away with a pressure washer, or it does say on the bottle you can agitate with a wash mitt and then rinse thoroughly. Back in the shop, nice and dry, squeaky clean. The thing I want to do next is go over where I felt the panels before and felt a lot of bonded contaminants, really bumpy. Put a plastic bag over your hand, gently rub your hand along the surface of the bottom of the car, and if you feel a lot of bumps, it's going to need to be clayed. I only clay when and where it's needed. It does say on the bottom, it does remove above and below contamination, so I do want to test that. And indeed, I can feel a lot of those bond contaminants, they're still there. So we will need to clay nonetheless. And the product delivers slickness that other products designated for this purpose deliver. I'm going to test that. On one door, I'll use the Nanoskin Slick. On the other door, I'll use the D2002, and I'll let you know. On one side, I'll use a clay bar. Does it dissolve the clay bar as you're using it? Harsh chemicals besides water, it's going to start to break that clay down, make it slimy, hard to handle. Same thing with a synthetic clay disc or pad. What's it going to do to that as well? We'll find out. Plenty of lubrication there, but you can see there is a lot of bonded contaminants still left on the surface. Using it as a clay bar all the way around the car, you want to definitely stop and rinse the clay after every panel or so, or it will start to break down, as I have found. The door with the Nanoskin Glide had a lot more lubrication. It was a lot safer for the clay bar, and I would just personally stick to that and pass on the D2002 as a clay lube. Also, then, to add another note, removing the clay lube, of course, the Glide is going to just wipe off easily with the damp microfiber, but the section with the D2002 was slimy and definitely needed to be flushed or washed afterwards once again. Let's jump over to the driver's side, grab synthetic clay, also from Nanoskin, one of their handheld discs, and try the same thing. There's some lubrication there, but I would definitely rinse that synthetic clay after every panel, or it will start to really get grabby as you move on. Also, when you're finished, even if you have rinsed it thoroughly, you definitely want to store it with the synthetic clay part up. It will grab onto and bond to anything that it falls against and leans against. That will bring us to the final thoughts segment of the video. Meguiar's D2002 iron remover. They just tried to check too many boxes off with the product. I believe they could have stopped it right there and dropped the clay, and at 32 ounces for 20 bucks would have been perfectly fine. It's not the strongest out there, but it is effective on wheels and paint. If you have any questions, don't hesitate. Brian from Apex Detail. I'll catch you in the next video.